Hey, listeners, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Sonia Space. This is episode 27. And for today's episode, I wanted to talk about my takeaways from 2024. And being in the month of January also feels like the longest month already. And with all of the transformations that I have gone through over the last year, with major changes that had happened, me having a baby, me moving to another house, I feel like there were quite some realizations with these major shifts in my life. And I feel like for today's episode, I wanted to dedicate this episode to talk about this topic. And with that being said, going through these changes along with my podcast journey and all, I feel like I have learned quite a lot and have had quite a few realizations as well, and some personal insights that I might have that, have really shifted my perspective on things. And I can assure you that prior to 2024, I, was not aware of certain things. And, a lot of times you have to go through something to realize something. And guess what? That's just life, and that's part of growth. And, you never want to stay stagnant in your life. You want to be able to experience things and be able to grow out of it and learn from it. So I wanted to dedicate today's episode from my personal takeaways from 2024 and now going into 2025. I just want to state that, I've realized, at least for me, I'm the type of person that kind of is scared of changes. Like, I'm open to it, but I'm still a little reluctant with changes. Like, I get very sentimental about things. Like, one of the major changes in my life this last year was moving to another house. And me and Jesse have spent quite a lot of time in our previous house. And, I was really sentimental about that. And also just having a baby and thinking about that identity shift, that transformation. Change can be very scary, but it's rewarding and it's a part of growth. And embracing these changes really helps you grow as a person. Like, I would say that I'm definitely not the person that I was last year or the year before. There's always something new, and I'm overcoming challenges or accepting new opportunities and learning things about myself. So change can definitely be scary, but it is so rewarding at the same time. As long as you're on the right path and you have the right attention, it's always great for self-improvement and growth. The first takeaway that I have from the year 2024 is the concept of and the value of consistency and dedication. And if you're willing to do something and you have a goal in life, whatever it may be, it does not have to do with work, but if you truly value something and you want to achieve something and be good at it, consistency really matters. Being consistent and being dedicated, even if you don't want to show up mentally, it's important to be able to be consistent and dedicated to achieve that goal. And I'm not saying don't take mental health breaks and, don't be hard on yourself, but remember, being consistent and getting right back into it is very important to be able to achieve things. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I started my podcast journey in late 2023. And look, we're already into 2025 and I'm 27 episodes in almost. And it required me to be consistent. And with this opportunity that I've had, I've been able to release all of these episodes. I was able to have listeners from all around the world. I've collaborated with other podcasters as well. And all of that took consistency, hard work, and dedication. And for me to really put the work in there. And speaking of work, I think that another takeaway that I have is good work ethic matters, right? And you have to learn when you really want to work on something, you want something in life, time management is very important. Being punctual is very important, and setting up a routine is very important. I'm not saying this is not like it's easy, it's not. But if you really want to show up for yourself, these work ethics are really important to incorporate into your life to get where you're at. And if it's not working out for you, then you need to, tweak out some things for it to work for you. So just in general, I think having a good work ethic, having to learn how to manage time, not only with your work or, your hobby or whatever that you're doing, is just, juggling family and friends. You have to learn how to manage your time around and people and understand how to prioritize them in your life, and having a proper routine, knowing that I have to wake up and I need to make my bed and I need to focus on house chores. And then I need to make sure that I have breakfast or a cup of coffee. All of these things are very important in order to achieve the things that you like. And it comes from doing things on a day-to-day basis and not something that you do and then you don't do. It definitely requires consistency and dedication. So I do think that is something that I've truly embraced and learned about and still need to work on, but it can bring about great opportunities, and it's, again, rewarding. And you kind of put yourself in the situation to have the best possible outcome for the work that you put in. Another personal takeaway from 2024 is being really mindful of how you feel and being vulnerable about your emotions and how you communicate them to people, I think is very important. I believe I'm the type of person, or used to be, where I was very closed off and I would shut down if someone had hurt me or if things didn't make sense. And I'm definitely working on it. But I do think that being able to communicate and being vulnerable about things and people that actually matter to you, that respect you and you respect them, I think it's very important to have that certain aspect in your life to be able to create quality connections with people. And, even in your relationships with your family, being able to communicate how you feel and being vulnerable and being open and being mindful of what you want in life is really important, because you don't want to push things off to the side or let things bottle up. It's very important to be honest and straightforward about how you feel. And I think in that sense, it's also very relieving, and it kind of exposes you to people that are right for you, that are meant to be in your life, that are understanding of what you have to say. I feel like sometimes when you are open and vulnerable with people and they don't understand where you're coming from, or they can't hold themselves accountable, or you have communication issues with that person, and that's okay. It just means that that person does not bring value to your life. So I think it's very important to be open and vulnerable, not only with people, but with in your workplace as well. I feel like even in my corporate job, being very open about what I want, my demands and wants, and what I deserve in life. And I think that's very important, because you're not going to get anything if you don't necessarily ask for it. Things don't just come to you, right? You might be lucky, but if you really want something, you have to ask for it. And if you want something to go a certain way, you have to be able to communicate that to others. So I think one of the biggest takeaways is uh, being vulnerable and being open about how you feel to others. And it helps bring in opportunities and great connections with others. My next takeaway would be that everyone knows this, but you really understand the value of this and the importance of this when it actually happens to you. And it is your health being such a huge blessing. Having good health and the privilege to be able to work on your health, your physical health, your mental health is such a huge, huge blessing. And, as you get older, like, I mean, I'm now in my early 30s and, my body does not work the way it did in my 20s. But if I stay active and work on myself, then I am investing in my body to be healthier and more flexible uh, in the near future, right? Like when I'm older. So health is truly a huge blessing. And I really noticed it when I got pregnant because, I mean, if you've been pregnant, you know that it is such a major shift how quickly your body just transforms, right? Like you're pregnant and over the course of 9 months, I mean, you gain so much weight. I gained almost 55 pounds in my pregnancy. And I'm a petite girl, I'm short, and that's a lot of weight to put on, right? And pregnancy can come with a lot of things, right? I necessarily didn't have this issue, but like, you have your nausea, your vomiting, and then I had headaches, and it takes a toll on you, like being able to walk, like the shortness of breath. You're just like, wow, my health is kind of taking a toll. But again, you're growing another human being, but it does take a toll on your body because your baby is taking all of your nutrients. Like I got pretty iron deficient during my pregnancy that I had to get IV infusions. You don't realize that your body is doing all this work and how much effort you have to put into something, to make sure that your body does things that it needs to do. And again, pregnancy is a whole nother thing, right? Because your body's already doing the work that it needs to do to produce a baby. But at the same time, you have to make sure that you also take care of yourself, right? I wish I was taking iron supplements from the get-go, but I didn't know about that. I ended up being pretty iron deficient. And, that could come with complications during labor. And so I do believe that your health is such a huge blessing. Like I started having high blood pressure readings, never had that in my entire life. Like I am so blessed to say that I've never had any health complications in my life until I became pregnant because it's your body's way of, your body's really pressured to basically go through this process and you don't realize that sometimes it's a lot of pressure on your body. And yeah, I would say that taking care of yourself, eating the right types of food, like whole foods, nutrient dense foods, drinking that water, taking an emotional break, a mental break, meditating, doing yoga, doing stretches, right? Like, to do these things, but it's also a matter of actually doing it. And again, your health is a huge blessing. And if you have the privilege of working out or, being able to afford organic foods, healthy foods, and being able to cook a meal at home, it's such a huge privilege. And it's something that we shouldn't be able to take advantage of, right? Something that we should really be grateful for. So I've just become more mindful of that in over the last year. My next takeaway would be being able to practice daily gratitude. And when you're grateful for the things that you have and the things that you want to work on and having the ability to work on these things, being grateful for the big things, the small things, is really good for your mental health and the energy that you put out in the world. I mean, it generates positivity and happy feelings, and it also gives you the motivation to do things that you want to do. I feel like sometimes we focus on all the bad things happening in your life, and I've been there where like I'm focused on things that are not going right, right? First of all, no one has a perfect life. But then when I really sit down and bring myself into this sense of gratefulness and gratitude, um, I realized, wow, like I've come a long way from last year and even the year before, and I didn't have any of these things that I have now. And I've come a long way. I should be grateful for these things. I feel like human beings, it's our nature to forget um, what we've been through and how far we've come because we're so focused on our day-to-day activities, the family, work, whatever it is. But you have to tell yourself to be grateful. And I know it sounds cliche, but I truly mean that being grateful and being mindful of the things that you have versus the things that you don't have, you will realize that you are truly blessed and lucky than so many other people around the world, that it kind of gives you this sense of privilege that you have and also this sense of calmness um, and comfort that you feel from that. So I believe being grateful and having this sense of gratitude on a daily basis, and even just in your mind, mentally talking about the things that you're grateful for. I actually mentioned this in an episode a while back, but just kind of writing down or talking about the things that you are grateful for. Um, on a day-to-day basis, like, oh, I was able to talk to a good friend today, or I was able to eat a healthy meal, or I was able to listen to some good music today, or I was able to plan something with my husband. Like, these are things that you should be grateful for, and I think being mindful of that is very important. My last takeaway would be letting things flow and taking things at face value. And what I mean by that is you don't necessarily have to have control over every little thing in your life. And I am speaking to myself right now. I can be a control freak and I want things to go a certain way. I like being in control of everything that I do, so I get the outcome that I want, and I don't like to be disappointed. But that is not a realistic mindset to have, because not only are you causing trouble for yourself, but you can be impacting other people around you. So I think it's good in a way to be mindful and do things for yourself and taking control over your life. But to a certain degree, I feel like letting things flow. If things don't go your way, it's okay, right? Or if someone has said something that you don't like, I mean, there's ways to go about it, but you are not in control of other people's emotions or the way that they're projecting onto you. You are only in control of yourself. And in that case, you have to learn to show grace to others, show grace to yourself, and just let things flow. You don't have to do everything. Not everything has to get done today. You can leave some things to do for tomorrow. If it's causing you to be stressed out, then you have to work around it. So being mindful and being able to let things flow and let things be would help you so much in the long run. And I've actually kind of started doing that. I just focus on what I can control and just let things be, especially when you have a baby. Like laundry doesn't get done on time, right? The house can be a mess. You're a mess. You're putting off things and chores that you need to do, but you can only do your best. So take it one day at a time and just focused on prioritizing the important things in life. So understanding the concept of letting things be and taking it as at face value and letting things flow is very good for your mental health. I think you're putting out a very calm sense of energy out there, and it gives you a flexible mindset. And I feel like being a flexible person is not necessarily a bad thing. It shows that you have the capacity to be patient and work with others as well. So that's one of my other big takeaways from 2024. 2024 has definitely been a year of reflection, excitement, setting up new goals, transformation and realization. And now stepping into the new year, you're going in with a fresh intention and a open heart, right? You're embracing growth, you're embracing new beginnings, you're embracing the unknown, and you are also giving yourself the chance to reflect on all the lessons that you've learned over the course of the previous year. And it gives you the opportunity to set certain goals and then also move forward with purpose in your life. And of course, this journey will continue for us all and hopefully into bigger and better places. Thank you so much for listening in today. I am so grateful for all the support and feedback I've been getting. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to Sonia Space, and follow me on Instagram for sneak peeks on upcoming episodes as well as other inspirational content. I hope your day goes well, and I've left you feeling inspired. Bye-bye.